Uh, Thank you again for this opportunity to address our young students بلبنان يعني بالLIU. So رح أحكي عن الخبرة تبع الميديكال انجينيرينج AUB experience. هلا الفيلد of clinical engineering, I don't know if you have an idea, أو بيسموك they call it biomedical or medical. Practically it started 1967. So the first clinical engineering department started at George Washington University. 1968, AUBMC Medical Engineering Department was founded. هلا it was founded in the old hospital. طبعا هيدا was demolished, and we had the new hospital later. And there were only 2 staff members, 1 engineer and 1 electronics technician. And the name of the department at that time was Scientific Equipment Center, لأنه الفيلد, as we said, was really still very new, and they thought it would be more of maintenance, and they called it Scientific Equipment Center because they thought they would be also maintaining the equipment in the university. 1970, this building of the medical center was built, and they moved into it. It was built over a few years. And with the arrow that you can see, our offices were on the 4th floor of that building. And they moved to that locale. In 1978, when I joined the department, we were only 2 engineers, 1 technician electronics, and 1 machinist. And most of our work at that time was development of special devices for the medical basic sciences researchers. But we had also some maintenance work. But a lot of it was really development for research. In 2015, as you can see on the left of the picture, there is like maybe inverted 7 building was added. And there is the building highlighted in blue. We moved to that building, the medical engineering, and it was hosted in the sub-basement. And it's a huge area. Okay. When we talk about healthcare technology, I would like to hear the feedback تبع attendees, our young students. What do you understand by healthcare technology? Hello?
أستاذ بسام، إذا بدك نخليها at the end وهني will give all the feedback.
Okay. So it really includes drugs, and include devices, and definitely software. Why? Because you might want to treat a patient using a drug, or you might treat him using a device. وأكيد, surely the software has become an integrated part of the devices, or even a separate part for diagnosis and so on. You will say this is fine. But if we think a bit out of the box, and this is not my definition, it is also the medical and surgical procedures. Sorry. For example, if we give a CT scanner to a tribe in Africa, they cannot use it. They have the equipment, but they don't know how to use it. Similarly, if you give them a surgical robot. So the medical and surgical procedures, the way you use the technology, are an integral part of the technology. And this is a very important point to keep in our minds as engineers. And the last one is the administrative and supportive systems, within which you're giving all this thing. So quite often as engineers, the focus, we say, okay, we're focusing only on software and devices. When you go to real life, you'll find out it should not at all be this way. So in 1997, I redefined the mission statement of the department as providing proper technology transfer and the technology management, with the broader definition of technology that I've just spoken about. So this is what we provide. To whom we provide it? To the staff, faculty of medicine, AUB Medical Center, AUB and other institutions, how we provided in support of the objectives of high quality international standards, education, research, and patient care in a cost-effective way. So here you're seeing a the picture of the team in 2015 in our new locale, which is like, it's a huge, hundreds of meters, square meters. Now, in 2019 or starting 2000 plus, I started pushing the department to expand the services outside the scope of the Faculty of Medicine and the Medical Center. If you look at the items circled in red, the oval shape, the big one, is the Medical Center. It is like two buildings joined over the main street. And then you have the new inverted 7, the big glass building, which they call it the Academic Center, which was inaugurated a few years ago. Behind it is the School of Nursing. And then we have the St. Jude Cancer Center. We have the outside clinics, private clinics, and the family medicine. And that building of the family medicine, it hosts a cyclotron and the PET CT. Now, there is a line going down. If we look at the orange part, the building, the first building on your right in orange is the Faculty of Medicine. So we're supporting that building. And the other 3 buildings, you have the Faculty of Health Sciences, part of the Faculty of Engineering, and the Core Environment Lab. The circles in yellow are parts of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. So we're covering the Geology Department, Psychology Department, the Chemistry, Physics, Biology, and the Core Lab. They have a Core Lab there. And around the year 2000, we started giving also some support for the Faculty of Food, Agriculture, and Food Sciences. Why? The world is going into the concept of global health. Yani, you should not be waiting for people to go to clinics or to go to hospitals to be treated. Look at what's going on now with the issue of COVID. They're telling you to take basic precautions. So they have realized that the environment is important, the quality of the food that you're taking is important, the water that you're taking is important, the sanitation, the media, the information you're getting. So this is part of the global health. And as you can see, we have moved into that direction. And I think we're the department, by the way, I left it in 2020, the AUB Medical Engineering department, we have set a model which is still very new, even on the international level. But this is the future. So in terms of the structure of the department, you had the director, and the dotted part is technology assessment, secretary. We created a unit for medical IT, and a unit for training, quality, and service. And then you had the unit handling, or the AUB Medical Center, a unit handling the Faculty of Medicine and Engineering, located outside the Medical Center, and a unit handling the Faculty of Art and Sciences and part of the Agriculture, and they are also located in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. So in terms of technology management, which is general, whether in any area you're doing, so you have the element of planning, identifying the needs, setting the budget, the environment, and then if it is approved, you write the specifications, they go into a process of bidding, then the offers are sent to you to do the evaluation, and sometimes the budget analysis. Once the decision, you give your recommendations for more than one product. Once the product is selected, the equipment is obtained, you have to make sure that it is installed properly, it is functioning up to the specifications. After that, you have to support the use, the maintenance, quality control, the safety, the upgrades until you retire it. And surely there is the component of training. So we were training the users and giving continuous training because, you know, being in academic center, you have a turnover of doctors, residents, and sometimes nurses coming in, going out. So you have to train them on how to use properly the equipment. And there is the component, the big one, ellipse on the left, which is technology assessment. What is the status of the technology on the market, new trends, the technology that we're using, its health, and so on. So the services that provided include technology management and transfer, developing medical IT applications, integrating medical devices. As you heard, AUB went and they made a big issue about the EPIC, which they installed an electronic health record system. So we had to do an integration of over 200 medical devices, and it was really challenging because some of these devices, even internationally, the companies were not able to do the integration, and we succeeded in doing that. And there is the issue of data security. So we have an IT department, but we have agreed anything from the wall to the equipment, it is our duty to make sure it is secure, whether the operating system or the medical data on it. From the plug up, it is the duty of the IT department. And we were operating in close collaboration with them. Also, there is the component of the support of research, teaching, and the equipment operation. We talked about it. Doing some R&D training, supporting the Master's PhD Biomedical Engineering program within AUB, and we had other specialized services. So this is one of the things we did maybe early 2000. So there was a procedure, they use it in anesthesia, whereby you go with a syringe with a needle in the vertebrae. The doctor will push and pull to make sure he didn't hit a vein. And then he will start pushing, and then you give electrical stimulation and recording to make sure that you have reached the desired level of anesthesia. So it needed 3 persons to do it. So one of our engineers built this integrated pump with the stimulators on it, so one person could do the procedure. Now, I don't know if you've heard about the term of operating room integration. So you have some devices and software whereby you can grab all the images, do video switching, video conferencing, video recording on all the data that you have within the operating room, the x-rays you're getting, the microscopes, and so on. So if we wanted at that time to purchase the system, it would have costed us millions and millions of dollars, around 6 million. So we developed it in-house using regular portable PCs, video grabbers, and some video switching equipment at less than 1/10 the price. And that was one of the medical IT projects that were done within the department. As clinical engineers, we had the issue of research. Now, the picture you're seeing here was 1999. And the doctor sitting on the left is Dr. Yusuf Kumer. If you've heard of the name, he's a famous neurosurgeon. And you have seen and read our engineer next to him is a neurology doctor. The operation that you're seeing was number 2 or number 4 to be done worldwide at that time for something called deep brain stimulation. And we had to do a lot of work, and even in terms of the design, the setup of the operating room to be able to do this operation. So basically, you have 2 computers. The one on the right side, you do the planning for the surgery. They do an MRI, then they put the frame that you see on the head of the patient. It is physically fixed. They take ECT. Then on the computer on the right, prior to the operation, we merged the images of the MRI and the CT, which was done slice by slice by our engineer under the supervision of doctors. And then you plan your surgery, how to enter, which to hit the STN segments on the right and left side of the brain. And you plan it in such a way not to hit the optical or auditory nerves or any major vessels. So you go to the operating room and they start going down. As they're going down, they're recording the action potentials. This is the computer on the right that you see with amplifiers. And the patient is kept away to make sure that you've hit the point you want to hit. But we have discovered at that time that the brain is like a jello. The moment you open it, it slightly moves. So you need to replan your surgery inside and repeat the insertion a couple of times to hit the right point. So it was a very challenging clinical engineering work, which was really at the higher end of science. And this is a bit different from anything you see as work of clinical engineers in this country. So some of the non-medical projects that we did, this was built Lebanese linear plasma device built by this professor, but most of the work was done by our engineer who is located in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. And this machine was built especially for the commission, the Atomic Energy Commission in France. They gave them a grant to do it. And this is another project we did for the Faculty of Agriculture and Arts and Sciences to grow algae, which can be used for biofuel, fertilizers, organic pesticides, food supplements like omega-3, omega-6, and antibiotics. So if you'd like, I can take a few questions right now before I moved into the second part of the presentation. Hello?
I think keep going and we will keep the questions till the end.
Okay. So now I will be talking about the healthcare technology management and advancement. Okay. Now, this is a committee which I created under the Lebanese Healthcare Management Association, which was founded in 2002. And what triggered me to create this committee and under the umbrella of this association is that in 2000, if I'm not mistaken, 14, there was a conference held by the Lebanese Healthcare Management Association in collaboration with WHO about medical devices. And there were international speakers and some from the Arab countries to discuss, and it was mostly attended by clinical engineers from Lebanon and the region and from WHO. So during that conference, I thought, why don't we have something for clinical engineers? And at the same time, I thought instead of creating something new, why can't we put it as a committee under the Lebanese Healthcare Management Association? And what really made me think about this option is that it is a non-governmental, non-profit association, not affiliated, not involved in any political party or activity. And most important, and also a very important point, it can open branches in Lebanon and abroad. So it took us some time. In 2016, we developed the mandate and the goals. And March 2017, we kick-started our activity, but it took 1 year for them to acknowledge us. But I didn't care about the actual acknowledgement, but we needed to move forward. Now, this is the steering committee. I will not dwell a lot on the names, but some of the supporters are the USG president, AUB president, and you'll see why. And we were able to sign Memorandum of Understanding and Collaborations with the American College of Clinical Engineers for 5 years. I signed it in the US in 2018. with the International Federation of Medical and Biological Engineers. Tom Judd was a speaker with you. We signed an agreement with Dubai Science Park. We were supposed to have a very big event in Expo 2020 last year, but it was cancelled due to the COVID. We're collaborating with the IEEE MBS. We have a close collaboration with the AMI, American Association of Medical Instrumentation, and the Association of the Cadre Industrie European, the Diapositive Medical. Now, what are the vision and the goals of HTME? It is to lead innovative healthcare technology management, assessment, and advancement of solutions and initiatives for safe quality healthcare education and research. How? Through development of systems of professionals, development of professionals, standards, systems, and technologies in Lebanon, in the MENA region, and globally. And we have used a very different paradigm, and I think we're one of the very few organizations, or probably maybe also the only one in the world, to do it. Through our long experience in the field, we realized, and you were talking during the presentations that I attended with you about the issue of the recognition of clinical engineers and the decision making and our role and so on. My long experience has taught me that the healthcare issues and the technology issues are not owned only by clinical engineers. So there are so many parties, stakeholders in the system. You have the nurses, you have the radiologists, you have the doctors, you have the hospital administrators, you have other engineers in the hospital, those in charge of the generators, the ACs, the IT, you have the physiotherapists, the bigger scale, you have different universities, the government, you have the industry. So we took the decision to not to limit it to clinical engineers, and that was, I think, a very good decision to do. And at the same time, we decided to have several work groups at that time. One on innovation, technology management, assessment, advancement, education, research, collaboration, policies, standards, ethics, risk, quality, and safety. But since we were starting very new and we were not officially recognized, have you heard about BDL Accelerate? No? Okay, we'll talk about it. So the activities we did till things deteriorated in the country in 2019, we worked on these 4 different areas: innovation, collaboration, education, standards, healthcare technology assessment, and certification of the biomed. So what we did here, our kickstart was in March 2017. We held this conference in AUB jointly with, sponsored by the Lebanese Central Bank, and we had AUB, USG, the WHO. We had the MIT, the Center of Development of Medical Devices, the guy in charge, we invited him to come over. And we had venture capitalists. We had somebody from the Ministry of Health in France in charge of accepting which devices should, and monitoring the devices that go on the market and the devices which are on the market, and the president of the ACDIM in Europe. So the aim of this conference was to see if we can have innovation in healthcare technology in Lebanon and how to go about it. Less than 2 months later, we did another event in USG, and it was jointly done with Johnson & Johnson and AUB, USG, and the Central Bank. In 2017, also in the summer, we made a meeting where we, for both presidents of AUB and USG, and we created 3 task forces to push forward this initiative. And the aim was really to start with these 2 universities and spread to all the universities in Lebanon. In March 2018, which is 1 year exactly later, and prior to our being fully recognized as a group by LHME, we did this event, which was a closed panel. We had two international companies, AUB, USG, the central bank, our group, and the Lebanese industry, to see how to push forward the innovation and the local healthcare industry in Lebanon. And we came out with 7 task forces, which we were in charge of facilitating them as HTME. As part of the event and the work, we were able to secure a joint fund, which was called the HITS, of $1 million prior to the deterioration of the situation in the country, to have and to give grants up to $66,000 for a joint research leading to innovative products, having the primary investigators from AUB and or USG, but jointly, and with the possibility to include, we opened the possibility for them to include researchers from other universities and even from the industry. And as I said, the plan was really to open it for all universities in Lebanon. Also, in the summer of 2019, in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Rasha Hamra, together, who was also a member of our group, and together with some members of our group, but she had done all the work on most of it, Lebanon became one of 17 countries worldwide acknowledged by WHO to have registry for clinical trials on drugs. And we were hoping to do something of the same sort for the clinical trials or medical devices. In terms of technology assessment, hospital-based technology assessment, we held a workshop 3 days in June 2019. It was regional. And we're closely collaborating with IFMBE for the policies, standards, accreditation, education, and what have you. So we really would like to invite everybody in this field to join us in Lebanon and outside, to learn from experts, to develop innovative solutions, to exchange our experience, to make a difference in healthcare, to interact and collaborate with different disciplines and open new horizons and prospects, to innovate and help in our region, in Lebanon, and globally. So why should a person join? For exposure, to connect with professionals, and we want everybody to join to be a leader, to be able to advance the population health, healthcare management, education, training, healthcare technology management, assessment, innovation, and developing standard systems and technologies. So far, we're not collecting any memberships. It is so far for free. So your contributions can be expertise, donations, time, sponsorship, training, coaching, networking, mentoring, ideas, projects. It's open. My final message is that there are a lot of challenges in our country, in our region, and now even in the world, due to instability and lack of human resources. These are a call for us to put extra innovative efforts, to join hands, and surely together we can make a difference. Thank you.